Hey now guys, what is happening? Good evening. Back with another book review. Today it is Captain America Volume 5, The Secret Empire. Yes, this is another biggie, guys. Really awesome stuff. Briefly, we've got 416 pages of Captain America adventures, 20 issues, 160 to 179 has Captain America, the Falcon, and a whole bunch of guest stars in here. Written predominantly by Steve Englehart with some assist from Mike Friedrich, no relation to Gary Friedrich. And despite what Omar might tell you, it is not pronounced Friedrich. Mike Friedrich, no relation, like I said, to Gary. Like the Buscema brothers, there are no Friedrich brothers. But Mike does assist Steve Englehart in a couple of stories in the beginning of the Secret Empire storyline, predominantly penciled by Sal Buscema. And there's one issue by some dude named Alan Weiss, issue 164, that he pencils. So pretty much, guys, we are further along in the 1970s here. Vietnam has apparently ended. Watergate just happened. All this happened in 1973. America had a new president by 1974, Gerald Ford. And Nixon was kicked out of office. And all that pretty much is summed up and discussed outwardly and even veiled. Steve Englehart apparently was one of these many people that was really affected by and galvanized by the events that were happening in America by this time, and put it into Captain America. And Stan Lee was okay with that. I think Stan Lee was still publishing. He was still the publisher and the president of Marvel at this time. But that happens later on in the storyline with the massive, epic, what was it, 7 or 8 part Secret Empire storyline, which went from 169 to 176. Before that, you basically have, and of course I always put it in the communities tab, the breakdown of each issue. You had, starting out with 160, you had, what was it? He faced Solar. Solar was the first villain he fought in the issue. Him and Falcon fought him. Then 161, 162 has him fighting Dr. Faustus. Dr. Faustus has returned. 163 has the Cobra, the King Cobra or Human Cobra, who's usually a Daredevil villain, busting out Viper, who was in the last volume, the last 3 issues of the last volume, 157, 8, 9, showing up again with the Eel. And Viper apparently was, I found out that Viper was an ad man who, he worked an advertising agency on Madison Avenue, like on the TV show Mad Men, who pretty much ruins Cap's life later on in this volume of issues. He hooks up with this guy. It doesn't hook up with him. He calls an old advertising friend named Quentin Harderman, who was running this committee to fuck with Cap's life and ruin his life and just tarnish his reputation. And it works. It actually works. That's in 163. And then little by little in like 165, 166, there's mention, Captain America is a glory hog and he doesn't care about America. And, Peggy Carter, I kind of spoiled it. Well, Peggy Carter returns. Actually, she returned in 161, 162, that storyline with Dr. Faustus, that 2-part storyline. Dr. Faustus brings Peggy Carter back, and now it's like a soap opera, like a daytime soap opera. Cap is in love with her sister Sharon, who's much younger and prettier, but Peggy still loves, not Steve actually, it's Captain America. But of course Sharon knows Steve and Captain America are the same person, but Peggy doesn't know that Steve is Cap. And so now there's this big daytime soap opera drama of these 2 sisters in love with this one guy. And they don't know how to break it to her because they're afraid she's going to go overboard. Like her brain's going to like snap, her mind, her mentality is going to snap again. Because she was traumatized when she found out that Captain America died during World War II. But it's good stuff. Dr. Faustus is a pretty fucking psychopath, genius psychiatrist. So 163, I mentioned Viper, Eel, Cobra fighting Cap and Falcon. Then we have 164, 5, 6, and 7 164 has Nightshade, this black woman, who I thought was Layla for some reason, but it's another black woman. It has this serum that turns these prisoners in a prison into werewolves, but they don't even look like werewolves. They look like fucking demons from hell. But she turns Falcon into a werewolf. A werewolf with like a big, huge ass afro. But then at the end, it shows Yellow Claw, the Asian villain from the 50s. But he is more prominent in 165, 6, and 7, where he resurrects his grandniece, Suwon, to take over the world. What else? That was pretty cool. I kind of used the stereotypical Asian, like, the Yellow Claw. It's kind of like when I do the black voice. I'm like, yeah, I'm Sam Wilson, the Falcon, you know. So I used, the kind of stereotypical, because that's how it feels like when it's written. It feels like these are not very, like, thought out characters being written. I was having fun with it, guys. You know, if you guys are sensitive about that stuff, get over it, okay? Just having fun with reading, you know. That's how the voices sound in my head. So that's, 164 to 167 has that. 168 has Falcon and Cap fighting the Phoenix, but it's not the Phoenix that you think. It's actually Baron Zemo's son, who will eventually be Baron Zemo number 2, who leads the Masters of Evil into destroying and attacking the mansion, the Avengers Mansion in the 80s. That's that guy, and he has his first appearance as the Phoenix in 168. And it's a pretty interesting issue, a little one-off issue there. And then we have 169 all the way until 176. So that is 8 issues, guys, of the Secret Empire. So basically, what happened with Viper calling Quentin Hardeman to tarnish Cap's image has now caught up with him in 169. He meets the Tumbler again, but the Tumbler is just a patsy who is set up to be killed by this dude called Moonstone, not Carla Sofin. She becomes Moonstone much later. This is the first Moonstone, a dude, and he works with Quentin Hardeman, who is part of a conspiracy to ruin Cap's image. So then you go through 170, 171, Cap is on the run. Meanwhile, Falcon is in Wakanda getting these wings from the Black Panther. He takes Layla with him. I don't know why, because she's so fucking annoying. She's so angry. She's like the typical angry black woman from that era, like a Black Panther, an angry sister. You know, she's very much like that, with it, very angry. You know, it's like Misty Knight, Claire Temple, Monica Lynn, and this one. Layla Taylor, I guess that's her last name. They're all with the big, huge afros, black women. I guess kind of pretty. I don't know. But, you know, this one's just really angry. And, of course, she's kind of like, my sister could get used to this. Talking about Wakanda. And, of course, T'Challa is like a polite gentleman. He's like, yes, Miss Layla, welcome to Wakanda. This is, let me take you to Nigeria. I'll go to Nigeria while I talk with the Falcon. That's my Wakandan accent. And meanwhile, she's like, okay, I'll go. Oh my goodness, okay. And then she ends up getting captured by Stoneface, who Cap and Falcon fought in 134. That was his first appearance, 134, and then again in 137, 138, when they took on Spider-Man. That was in volume 3. Right? Volume 3? Yes, volume 3, Bucky Reborn. Yes, I remember, because I read it in like one day. So that happens. Then in like the span of that one issue, 171, Falcon gets his wings, brings Layla's ass back to Harlem, finds Cap, and then they're both on the run. And then by 172, they end up in Nashville, Tennessee, where they meet the Banshee. Then the X-Men show up. And this is really cool because the X-Men at this point their book was effectively canceled. It was reprinted with their stuff from the 60s, which fucking sucks. And I really wish they had kept the X-Men going during this hiatus, this 5-year period from 1970 to 1975, because Xavier basically he outs Falcon and says, you know what? I think you're a mutant, and we need to test you. We need to see if you are a mutant. And even Falcon is like, he ponders that. He's like, oh my goodness, I might be a mutant, you know, because of his connection with Red Wing, his Hawk. I think that'd be awesome, right? But guess what? they're not going to put it in Captain America. It would have been nice if Xavier had made more appearances in Captain America to say, hey, let's test out my theory. There's no X-Men book because there was no new stories, no all new, all different X-Men, nothing. It was in reprints. And effectively, this storyline was abandoned. It was eventually retconned that he wasn't a mutant. So I'm talking about Sam Wilson, the Falcon, in the Avengers 2001 annual, which fucking sucks. But as of right now, it seems like Steve Englehart had Falcon pegged as a mutant, like the X-Men. And it just would have been great if the X-Men had been around more or had their own series again. But of course, as we know, they'll get back to it in the next year, in 1975, with, Storm and Wolverine and Colossus and Nightcrawler and Sunfire and Banshee and all that stuff. But that's X-Men. This is Captain America we're talking about. But yeah, that's just one of those things that I just wish that one of those plot holes, those threads that just was abandoned, that would have been very interesting to look into had the X-Men been around more, but they weren't. But Secret Empire, Xavier, who is my favorite character, is there along with Cyclops and Jean, Marvel Girl. And for those of you who don't know, Iceman, at the time, Iceman and Angel were still with the X-Men, but they got kidnapped by the Secret Empire. Beast was also kidnapped, but he wasn't with the X-Men anymore. He became human, or not human. He was already human, excuse me, but then he became furried in Amazing Adventures, which was also written by Steve Englehart from issues 12 to 17. Jerry Conway did issue 11. That was the first Beast story in Amazing Adventures. So that was that storyline. Basically, Steve Englehart was like really the only person writing the X-Men during this 5-year period when their book was a reprint book. So thank you, Steve Englehart, for just keeping the memory alive of the X-Men. But Beast was also captured, and then the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants are also captured, and the Secret Empire just using the mutants to just store this power to take over the country and effectively the world. So that happens, and of course, the X-Men, Xavier, Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Cap and Falcon, Peggy Carter, who now has joined S.H.I.E.L.D. in issue 169, Gabe Jones, who just suddenly reappears. Last we saw him was in the Howling Commandos with that stupid bugle, and they painted him brown this time, not purplish gray, which is good. The Final Showdown is in 175, where Cap unmasks number 1, who is the leader of the Secret Empire, and it's alluded to. They don't show it, but they alluded to it being Richard Nixon, our real life former president, who was ousted in 1973 from office, and I guess he's paying us back. He's paying America back by becoming the Secret Empire's number 1 head because of this ousting. Cool, that's pretty cool. Using real life figures in this world, and it makes sense. Nixon was pissed off that he was impeached, or not impeached, but he could have been impeached, but he was just the first president at the time to leave office without being voted out. So that was that, and and he commits suicide. So. Richard Nixon, but they don't say Richard Nixon, and they don't show Richard Nixon, but it's alluded because he said he had the highest office in power. And what's the highest office in America? Sorry guys, there's like a piece of hair. I think I didn't shave my unibrow properly, so I don't know. I'm just picking at it. Anyway, so that was that, and then in 176, Steve basically says, "I quit being Captain America. I'm done." And it's actually a really good epilogue to the Secret Empire storyline, because then you have like Iron Man, Thor, Vision, Sharon Carter, I think Peggy Carter, everybody but Nick Fury. You have Falcon. Everyone's just telling him, no, you should stay as Captain America. You've done so much good since World War II up to now. Stick with it. And he's like, no. He doesn't say, okay, you guys win, I'll stay as Captain America. He's like, no, I'm done. Done. And then 177, 178 is a Lucifer story. Lucifer, who fought the X-Men and Iron Man. He returns, but then he becomes 2 Lucifers. He takes the physical bodies of 2 black guys, Rafe Mitchell, who was hitting up on Layla, who was Sam's girl, and Ares from the Zodiac cartel, which was way random and out of the blue. But so Ares is now the second Lucifer. And then these two Lucifers go after Falcon. No Captain America because Cap has quit. But somehow Steve, now he's Steve Rogers, kind of, sort of, I hate using the words kind of and sort of, but he does, in a way, here and there, help Sam defeat them, but not really. You know, it's hard to describe it, because he has problems of his own. And then finally 179, which wraps up the volume. He fights the Golden Archer, which turns out to be Hawkeye. It was actually a pretty good, clever story, and I kind of knew it was Hawkeye for some reason, but it was Hawkeye in disguise, and it was just basically him trying to teach the same lesson that Steve taught Clint when Clint, Hawkeye, joined the Avengers in number 16, when you know, when he was being rude and brash. Hawkeye, when you know, he was brash, and Captain America set him straight. And so this was his way to say, thank you for doing this for me, and now I'm going to do this for you. And then he says, you know what? You should stay in the superhero game. Don't let yourself go to waste. You have so much power and ability. You know, you have your super strength now, which was magnified because of the Viper. The Viper gave Captain America, inadvertently gave Captain America super strength, which is so stupid. But anyway, and he's like, why don't you don't have to be Captain America anymore. Just be another superhero. And so Steve automatically is like, you're right. I'm going to do that. And so as we know, Steve Rogers becomes Nomad in, right here, guys, the next book, which I'm going to read, The Man Who Sold the United States, Volume 6, covering 180 to 200. See how I segued in that, guys? Or how I segued into that, excuse me. Too excited. That's pretty cool, right, guys? So going forward, Steve is going to be Nomad, which of course we know will eventually be Jack Monroe's identity. Jack Monroe, who is actually the Bucky who fought in the 50s with Communist Smasher, Captain America. William Burnside is his name. But right now he's in suspended animation. They're both in suspended animation, so they won't get out for another couple of years. And that's later, guys. We'll discuss that later, dealing with Bucky, Nomad, Jack, whatever the fuck. But yes, we're going to be dealing with Steve Rogers as Nomad in the next volume, Volume 6, The Man Who Sold the United States, which sounds like The Man Who Sold the World, the David Bowie song, The Man Who Sold the World. But I don't like that. The Man Who Sold the United States. It should have just been like The Man Who Sold the US or the USA or something. I don't know. It just doesn't pop, but whatever. Oh my God. And then that's when we get into Jack Kirby, guys. I've heard like it's like when Jack Kirby took over Black Panther from Don McGregor. Like, we're going to go backwards. And I mean, and Kirby actually writes. He doesn't just draw the book or pencil. He actually, I think he also inks it too. So he is the artist and the writer. So Jack Kirby's going to be so old. He's so old. But a dinosaur. Okay. I'll save that for when I finish Volume 6, guys. You know, you guys can hear me bitch and moan about that one. I like Jack Kirby, guys. I don't love his work. I like it. He's not the king to me. That belongs to Steranko, Colin, Neil Adams, Colin meaning Gene Colan. So many better artists than Jack Kirby, just my opinion. But we'll talk about that within the next couple of days, guys, when I finish Volume 6. And that's it for now, guys. That was Volume 5 of The Secret Empire. Leave me your comments down below, guys, if you have any questions. Tell me if you like this storyline. What was your favorite stories, guys? 160 to 179. By the way, I also checked. I started Volume 1 of Captain America on June 13th. So I'm not even 2 weeks in, guys, and I'm already up to Volume 6. I probably will finish Volume 6 within 2 days, and that'll be the 14-day, you know, the 14-day time, which is 2 weeks. So I will have read 6 volumes in 2 weeks, guys. Pretty fucking killer. I mean, who cares? I mean, it's just, I'm reading books, guys. I'm not solving world hunger. I'm not curing cancer or AIDS, but it's still pretty remarkable. So if you guys want to know my timeline, that's it right there. 6 volumes within 2 weeks. All right, guys. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, or don't. Whatever you guys decide. But I'm having fun with this. Captain America is actually a lot of fun. I love Steve Englehart's writing, though. He's so great. I love everything in Avengers, Defenders, Avengers West Coast. I love it. And he's doing Captain America right now, which I'm reading. And this will actually be the last volume of Steve Englehart in volume 6. And then we go into Jack Kirby. All right. That's enough out of me, guys. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in a couple days. Bye-bye.